Hi guys, Mama Beach here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to talk about the scary world of Louis Vuitton resale. I know a lot of us out there choose not to pay full price for Louis Vuitton bags because we like to invest in a used bag on the resale market. That's my personal choice. I feel like it's the smartest way to spend my money. So I have really had to kind of educate myself on what to look for. And I just want to start off by saying that I am not an expert. Please don't send me photos of your bag and ask me to authenticate it for you because I might be able to give you my personal opinion, but like I said, not a professional authenticator. So I will put a link to a great professional authenticator in the description box below if you're looking for somebody to help you out with an item that you have or that you're looking to purchase. I also want to say I no way condone buying replicas. It's an illegal activity and I choose not to do it. If that's something that you choose to do, then that's your choice. The bag that I'm going to show in this video that is a replica does not belong to me. And it belongs to a friend of mine who only buys replicas, and we disagree on that topic, but we're still great friends. So she let me borrow this bag for this video specifically, and I will be returning it to her. So let's get started. I want to first show you guys a side-by-side comparison between these two bags, and then I will let you know which is the real and which is the fake. So this is the first bag that I'm going to show you guys. You can see they're both going to be Neverfull MM and the Demi Eben print. Okay. This is the other bag. So let's do a quick side by side so you can really see them. Let me get them turned around the right direction here. Side by side. And an up close shot of the texture here and the coloring. So as you can see, they're both very similar. If you're somebody like me that is just really starting out in the Louis Vuitton world, it's probably not that obvious to you off the bat which is fake and which is real. So let me go over them in a little more detail for you. The bag that is fake is this one, which was in my left hand in the comparison. Okay. So I would say the biggest difference off the bat that you can tell is the coloring and also the print of the bag. So you can see the coloring of the fake is a little bit more bright. It's a little bit more of a reddish brown, and the coloring of the real is a little bit more subdued. Okay. You can also tell when you look at the prints up close, the print is a little sharper. It's definitely, the edges of the squares are more sharp. The text is printed more sharply so you can read it more easily, which is actually the opposite of what I would have thought. I would have thought the real would have been sharper, but it is not. You can see the edges aren't quite as defined and the text isn't quite as defined. It's a little more subtle. I will also say that the texture of the canvas for the real one is actually a little rougher, and the texture for the fake is slightly more smooth, which is also the opposite of what I would have thought before actually looking at these in person. Now, I will say that the leather is extremely similar. The coating on it has the same amount of shine. I mean, they're really very similar. The stitching looks spot on. I mean, even down to the number of stitches, especially like on the handles. I've counted them, it's the same. So I wouldn't necessarily use that as a way to tell. All right, I'm popping in here to show you guys these bags in some brighter natural lighting so you can really see the difference between the coloring and the canvas texture. You can see the fake is still on your right and the real is still on your left, and I think this makes the coloring difference much more obvious. You can see the more reddish tone and the sharper print of the fake and the way more subtle coloring and the edges of the pattern on the real one. I also want to show you some up closes of the hardware. It is very similar. I would venture to say almost identical. Here is how the lettering looks on the fake, and here is how it looks on the real one. The real one looks just slightly more refined. It's not quite as blocky. And you can see the edge that goes around that piece of leather is just, it's a little bit more well done than the fake. The fake, you can tell it's just not as good in terms of the craftsmanship. But like I said at the beginning of this video, if you were not looking at these side by side, I don't think that you would be able to tell the difference right off the bat. I'll also show you some of the hardware inside the bag here, which is also pretty identical. Here is the hardware for the clasp on the fake. And here is the real. So you can see it's, I mean, even the feeling of it, it's the equal hardness, weight, and everything. So while there is a little bit of a subtle difference here with how the edges are done on the side pulls, I mean, it's really, really similar. Definitely pretty scary how well the replica companies are doing out there. Let me show you the interiors. So here's the interior of the replica bag. You can see this is a really well done replica, which is why it's so scary. It has the same kind of linen tape down the sides. The pattern does not continue on the bottom, which is accurate. It has the pocket that pulls out here. All of this text I have compared side by side to the real one. It is exactly the same down to the fonts and everything. Okay, so let me show you the real one here. Here's what the real one looks like on the inside. I mean, it's almost, I would say almost identical on the interior. Here's a shot of the text and the pocket, how it pulls out. All right, popping in again to show you guys the date codes up close. So this is the date code in the fake, and you can't see, but the last number is a 7. And you can see that the edges of this tab are a little bit rounded, which can be a sign of a fake. And the text is pretty skinny, but I have seen date code text that kind of looks like this, that is thinner. So I wouldn't say I would be totally alarmed off the bat. The edges are pretty common sign of a fake though. And the date code basically says that it was made in the year 2017, which based on the wear of this bag makes sense. It's a newer looking bag and it has a newer date code in it. So it's not like it has some crazy date code that doesn't make sense. Also with the heat stamp, that VI date code says that it was made in France, so that all matches up. So this is actually a pretty good replica. They've matched the date code to the heat stamp, and it's a year that actually makes sense for this bag. I'm gonna link the Yugi's Closet Guide to Date Codes below in the description box, so you guys can study up on what the different date codes mean and how they work, so you guys can kind of arm yourself with this knowledge. That's pretty important. So let me get this one up here and show you this date code. You can see the tabs. The tab here has more of a square edge. So on the real bags, at least for the Neverfulls, they always have a square edge. They're not going to be rounded like that last tag. And this also has smaller text, but it's a little bit more thick and pressed more deeply into the tab. And this one basically says it was made in, I think, 2000. I'm trying to see the last number. It's so hard with these things. 2010, which also makes sense for the age of this bag. It has more wear and tear to it, definitely on the top leather. There's scuffs and stuff, so that makes sense. And then the heat stamp here looks pretty similar to the other one. This one is made in Spain, and when I looked up what the letter CA here on the date code stood for, it was Spain, so that all matches up as well. So definitely a good sign for you guys to look for is the edges of this tab. That real ones are not going to have a rounded edge like that. And so all I can tell you is you just really have to be careful. If you weren't looking at these two bags side by side and you just saw the fake one in a listing and you didn't have a real one to compare it to, I think it would be so easy to buy it thinking it was authentic and find out it wasn't. So that's why I really encourage you to use experts like pro authenticators that I'm going to link below. I love them. I've used them so many times and they've never let me down, and they know exactly what to look for. So you can't really go wrong if you use them. Highly, highly recommend. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, I hope you will submit them for approval. I'm always looking to hear from people what kind of things that they would use or they saw in this video that I missed that I should have pointed out, so that we can all be educated about this topic. Because I think it is an important topic to talk about and put out there in the universe, that this does happen, that people will sell you a replica telling you it's real and they're not being 100% honest. So you just really have to learn how to protect yourself. As always, I really appreciate all your support here on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, I hope that you will. I do videos about all different kinds of handbag related topics. You can see I have quite a few behind me here on my wall in my office, and I cover all different kinds of brands as well. So if you just love handbags in general, please subscribe, and I know that you will love my channel. All right, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.